Hi guys, hi, how's it going? How y'all doing today? Hopefully today finds you well. Today I am doing my If I Could Only Choose One whole collection video. I've done this before, but I think the last time I did it was like April of 2023. And I've tried to do one of these every single year since it was like a tag out there at some point in time. I also have one that is an If I Can Only Choose One eyeshadow palette edition, which is going through like I think 10 different like categories of eyeshadow palettes. So this won't include eyeshadow palettes at all, but this is every other facet of what I put on my face in terms of makeup categories if I could only choose one, and I hope that you're here for it. For those of you new here, hi, my name is Donna. I'm a lover of all things high-end, colorful beauty and self-care, and ultimately this is my self-care. I enjoy coming out here talking about makeup, talking about beauty products, and sharing my wisdom with you, and also getting the wisdom that you give me back down in the comment section. So don't forget to hit a girl up down there. If a video on if I could only choose one product from every category of my collection, what would it be video sounds of interest to you, I encourage you to keep on watching. And I think that you'll find that we're kind of a kick in the pants to hang out with around here. So I hope that you'll want to subscribe before you go. With that said, let's roll into this video because I'm so excited to talk to you about these things. All right, so as I said, I've done this before. I have had this video planned out and on my list to do for a few months now, actually. And I mean, I think I started thinking about doing it again in April when the last one would have like kind of expired, right? I like doing these kind of periodically on my channel, no more than once a year, but no less than every couple years, because what we love about what we're putting on our face really kind of changes, right? So our interests change, our taste change, our maybe skin type, depending on where we're living or if we've moved or whatnot, changes. So I like to revisit this every once in a while, and there are several other content creators here on the platform that do the same thing. I will have some of them linked down in the description box, but I just wanted to walk through these. So again, there's not going to be any eyeshadow palettes in here because I do have like an eyeshadow palette centered if I could only choose one video out there on the makeup space. I do think that that was an originally a tag created by, I think it's Samantha March or Angelica Nyquist. I'm not really 100% sure, but let's just walk through everything other than eyeshadow palettes that I love in my collection. And this is a really hard video to do because when you are a makeup lover, as I am, it is hard to think about the fact that you maybe can only keep one of everything in your collection. It kind of gives me a picture of what my minimal makeup collection would look like from the perspective of what I would choose to keep if somebody was to come in and take everything that I have. Okay, so the first category I have is lipstick, and in lipsticks I have several different like subcategories. I kind of wanted to filter this in the same way that I filter like my inventory videos, and I can link one of those up in the cards for you for those of you who have not seen them. I think I did an updated inventory in like August, and you would be able to like kind of rationalize where I'm coming from in these categories. But for the lip category, I do have, I think, 6 subcategories, and the first one is lipstick. So for lipstick, the product that I would choose is the Dior Addict Beige Oblique lipstick that I have in my collection, because this is truly just, honestly, the most perfect lipstick in my humble opinion. It's a lipstick that I continue to want to reach for and continue to want to wear. It's a lipstick that sees a whole lot more use in my collection than any other lipstick in my collection. I think it's just because it's shiny, so kind of has this glossy feel to it. It's got a really comfortable wear to it. I absolutely do not love a matte lipstick. This one is more of like a satiny glossy lipstick. And it's also kind of this like really beautiful, like My Lips But Better shade that goes with just about anything, and depending on what lip liner I put it on top with, it is a little bit on the warm side, but if I put it over like a Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude, it kind of neutralizes it a little bit and becomes a little bit more cool. So when I chose my lip liner, that is precisely the lip liner I chose. Not only because it goes really well with this lipstick and helping it like cool down a little bit, but also because this lip liner is just truly the best lip liner to go with just about anything you put with it. Like, it is truly the best lip liner out there, and I think that it has like a cult following here on the YouTube space, and I think that there's a good reason why. It is a fantastic lip liner. It lasts for a very long time. It's the only lip liner I've ever had in my collection, besides I think like the Natasha Denona one, which came in about the same time, that truly when I am at the end of my day, if I have not touched up the like lip product that I have on my lips, you can still see the lip liner on my lips. It's actually kind of embarrassing sometimes because it's just my lip liner on my lips versus any kind of like gloss or lipstick that I've also put on top of it or had on top of it at one point in time. So I really quite love that lip liner, and I love the color of that lip liner as well. From a lip balm treatment or scrub perspective, I had a really hard time choosing because there is like several that I really, really like these days. And I went back and forth between like the Butter Balm and the Ole Henriksen Pout Preserve. And ultimately, I'm going to choose the Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask just because it is like a staple in my house, honestly. I've been buying this for many, many years. My daughter suffers from chapped lips. We use this to heal her lips often when she has like severely chapped lips, but also this is just really, really great. It's a wonderful product. I keep it by my bedside. I have one by my bed. I have one in here, and then my daughter also has one. I also have the squeezy tube version that I keep in my purse in the flavor like gummy bear. This is just truly an amazing lip sleeping mask. I would say that if I had to choose a second one, or if I got to choose a second one, my second one would be the Ole Henriksen Pout Preserve. I do think that I like this just a smidge bit better than I like the Sunday Riley ones. It is a little bit more thick. It does take, I think, far less, which might be the size comparison difference to it, but I think it's got the same amount of product. It's as glossy, but I feel like it's just a smidge bit more nourishing to my lips. So I would choose that if I got to choose a second one. I did not pick anything for liquid lipstick. This is not a category in my collection that I love, and I can't think of any one liquid lip that I would choose to keep in my collection. As a matter of fact, I've been kind of getting rid of most of them throughout the last couple of years specifically, but from a lip gloss or oil perspective, I do have also two options, mostly because I've never tried a lip gloss from this brand, but I love this lip oil. And this is the Clarins lip oil. It comes in, I think, like 5 different shades of it, but ultimately they don't really add a whole lot of pigmentation to your lips, but this lasts forever on my lips, and it feels just so good and so nourishing, and it is shiny. I do think it does some really great favors to my lips. It makes it look beautiful, makes my lips look beautiful and plump and juicy. That said, I also picked Fenty. Mostly because Fenty does have gloss and oil to choose from. Now this one is specifically her oil in Copa Cookie, right? Copa Cookie? Yeah, I think Copa Cookie? Copa Cookie? I don't know. It's her lip oil. And I love this lip oil. I don't think that I love it better than Clarins, but I do love the Fenty lip balms, and they are just so nice. I have like 12 of them in my collection. 3 minis, a bunch of full sizes, and I have 2 of the oils. I love her lip glosses. So I do think if I got to split this up and pick a gloss and an oil, I would pick the Clarins lip oil and the Fenty gloss. I know that I'm cheating, but this is my video, so there's that. From a lip crayon or stain perspective, I did pick the Fenty Poutsicles. Fenty is one of my favorite brands. It actually surprises me how much product I have from Fenty overall, but their stains are so good. They are emollient. They do not dry out my lips. They literally stain in such a beautiful way. This one specifically is in this like, I can't read it, but it's like this berry color, and that's what it looks like when you like just put it on your skin. But then this is the color that it stains to. And if you want a deeper stain, you can of course put more on it. What I would say about these stains versus other stains is that I have used this and many other different kinds of stains, and those other stains really dry my lips out so bad, and I don't know what about it is that dries my lips out, but this one just doesn't do that. I have 3 different shades in the Poutsicles. I think they are well worth the money, and I think that the stain power of these stains far surpasses other stains that I have. I currently have these stains and the Stila calligraphy stains also in my collection, and I much prefer these. They're easy to put on, they're easy to get off. The stain power of the stain is fantastic, and you really don't have to have it on your lips for very long to gain some sort of stain from it, but you can also layer it and create a deeper, more rich color in your stain. And it doesn't make your lips look weird, and it doesn't dry out your lips. So I really like those stains. From a brow perspective, I do have, well, there's 3 different subcategories in here, but I don't have anything for brow powder because I have 1 brow powder in my collection, and I don't really love using brow powder. And honestly, you could use any eyeshadow in the world to be your brow powder. So I do have just 2 products in this category, and that is a brow gel and a brow pencil. My favorite brow gel is the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Gel. I think everybody who watches me consistently knows this. I love this brow gel so much because it goes on, it's in my brows today, it goes on the brows, it doesn't cause an havoc with any kind of makeup that you've put around it, i.e. like any foundation that is currently touching your brows. Brows is pretty much the last step in my makeup routine besides mascara. So I really have to have a brow gel that isn't going to mess with my makeup, or I'm going to have to redo my makeup, and I don't love to do that, which is part of my problem with the ABH Brow Freeze, because that is like, you have to do that as a first step. I don't love that. I do love this product also because it doesn't create brows that are stiff and unnatural looking, and they definitely look super natural. They definitely are not stiff, but they are definitely in place. The one thing that I will say about this is it doesn't hold like the ABH Brow Freeze or like even the Urban Decay gels do. In that I sometimes can see like my brow like fall in this like arch area sometimes, but if I just like get a spoolie and spoolie it out, or if I just even take my finger and just kind of ruffle it out, it falls back into where it's supposed to be, and it stays there for a long time. So I don't necessarily think that it is a problem, in my humble opinion, for it to fall just slightly. That's after hours and hours of wear, and I would much prefer it falling and me occasionally having to fix it than my brows being super stiff and unnatural looking. So I do love that brow gel. I have for brow pencil the Precisely My Brow, and I chose this one specifically because it is super fine tipped, so it's really easy to use to create those like hair-like strokes, and get into like my really like pointed tail on my brows, but also it comes in a really beautiful gray tone that isn't ashy and doesn't create like crypt keeper brows, in my humble opinion, from a color standpoint. Is cool enough that it's going to like go with any shade I have in my hair, and isn't leaning warm, right? So almost every other brow pencil I have used has a warm lean to it, and either makes my brows look green if I'm using a dark, like a black color, or makes them look red. And I can't have like auburn brows when I have blue hair. So love, love, love this pencil for not only the pencil formulation, because it's not too waxy, it's not super stiff, it doesn't break every single time I use it, but also for the color. For base, I have face primer, foundation, concealer, corrector, setting powder, and setting spray. So 6 different categories. For primer, I do have the Hourglass Veil Primer. This is probably, I do have a second one out here because I think that they hit in 2 different solid areas for me. This would be the primer that I would pick for a moisturizing primer, because it is just a really nice, thick, like creamy moisturizer slash primer. It does really great things to keep the longevity of my makeup going throughout the day, but also my skin feels so hydrated when I am using this. But for an all over everyday primer, I did pick the Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer, because I do feel like this one goes on my skin and keeps my skin looking airbrushed, and is so soft and silky to use. It's weird to me because it has, I think I've said this before, it has a little bit of a blue tint to it when I pump it out of here. It doesn't take very much of this at all, much like this one. It doesn't take very much at all. And this is the second one I have purchased of these. And I know, and the third one of these, I know I like a primer so dang much when I'm repurchasing it. I don't think I've ever repurchased a primer like I have these two, because I get primers all the time in gratis. Between these two, these are my most repurchased primers. So overall, I could purchase this as a moisturizer, sure, but I use it more as a foundation primer, or as a primer. But this one would be like my favorite for like that airbrushed effect. Really, really creates a beautiful canvas for my foundations to go on top of, by like not filling the pores, but like blurring all of the texture I maybe have on my skin. From a foundation perspective, I did choose this one. This is the Dior Forever Natural Nude Foundation, and I fell in love with this. I think last year I purchased this for the first time. I've used so much of it, it's kind of shaking around. I had to stop myself from using this. This is such a beautiful foundation, and this is only going to be a beautiful foundation for those of us that like a little bit less from a foundation, not necessarily a skin tint, but like a very medium at most kind of coverage. I do feel like this can be built up to give you a little more of a higher medium coverage to it, but it also has a beautiful like luminosity, not glitter, not dewy, not glow, but luminosity to it that really just gives your skin a beautiful, healthy look to it. I also feel like this moves and breathes with your skin, so it's very skin-like. It wears away beautifully. I don't think I've ever experienced a medium coverage foundation that stays on my nose and doesn't wear away from my nose as beautifully as this guy does. So there's that. I also really kind of have an affinity for Dior foundations. I've never come across one that I didn't like. So really love that foundation, and it would be the one that I would want to keep in my collection. From a concealer standpoint, Natasha Denona High Glam. I think this is everybody's favorite concealer these days. It's just really great to use, has a lot of product in it. It's definitely good bang for your buck. It gives you a really great full coverage effect that can be honestly like buffed out to be more of a medium effect if you wanted it to. It works also on your under eyes because it works on your full face. It's so pigmented that it doesn't take very much to utilize it in like your under eye area to like cover everything that you want, but it also is not so emollient that you can't use it all over your face. I don't know what it is about this concealer, but it's like the magic concealer. Like there was two concealers that I found at the same time as this one, and this one is the one that I just continue to pull for. From a corrector standpoint, I do have the Bobbi Brown corrector, and mine is in light to medium beige. I did have the Becca under eye corrector as well in my collection at one point in time. Recently just decluttered an almost full one because I just continued to pull for this one more than I pulled for that one. This one has a little bit less emollient of a formulation than the Becca one, but it sits on the skin so much better, and it doesn't cause the same kind of like issues that the Becca one would cause, and it doesn't like sink into like your fine lines and wrinkles around your under eyes where you're typically going to be correcting. I love the formulation of this guy, and I also just love that it's in this little tiny dude. What I would say is I think that this is more expensive than some of the bigger potted ones that you're going to get, so I'm not 100% sure that I would repurchase this, but this is my favorite right now because I also feel like just the tiniest amount takes you so far with that product, and therefore the life expectancy of the product in your collection is a lot longer than even one that has a lot more in it, because it takes far less. It's not as emollient. It's a little bit more dry, so it sticks a little bit easier and provides a little bit more heavy-duty coverage, if that makes any sense. From a setting powder perspective, I have the Pat McGrath Under Eye Setting Powder, and I know it sounds weird that I pulled an under eye setting powder for all over powder, but typically that's the only place I use my powder. But I have to be honest with you, I accidentally bought the wrong shade of the Pat McGrath Under Eye Setting Powder and have been using this all over my face. You can see how flat that dome is because it's a domed product, and went and bought the light version for my under eyes. And again, you can see how flat that is because, I mean, the one for my full face I've been using with a bigger, fluffier brush, whereas this one gets used with a puff. I would purchase this for all over my face and my under eye. I would need to purchase two separate shades of it, right? But this is the powder I would want to use even all over my face. It's such a beautiful powder and creates just a really beautiful luminosity to the skin. And from an under eye perspective, I feel like it just blurs better than any other powder I have. I do think that she came out with a pink one not that long ago, and I would love to pick up the pink one of those. And then for setting spray, I did pick the Benefit Pore Spray. I do have it in my collection, but currently it's in a box, and I'm not gonna open it up because I do have a couple of other setting sprays currently out and about. But this truly is the best setting spray because there's no alcohol in it. It does have a long-lasting power to it, much like the Urban Decay All Nighter does, but it doesn't dry out my skin like the Urban Decay All Nighter does because there's no alcohol in it. In addition to that, it has such a beautiful sprayer on it. It feels like a mister from like you have, you know, your like gondola maybe, and it has like little misters on it for those hot summer days. That is what this feels like on the face, and it's just so refreshing. Okay, for the face category, I have blush, bronzer, highlight, and face palettes. For blush, I picked the Give Beauty Filling Cheeky Amplifying blush duos that I have in my collection. They are really, really very good. I think that they are beautiful blushes. I love that there's two different tones. I do think that, you know, some of them have two different also formulas, one more luminous than the other one, which is typically matte. I think that these last long enough that I love them so much, but I also feel like these are good bang for your buck blushes, right? So that might be part of the reason why I chose them. I don't know what my mindset was when I was choosing these out, but these are blushes that I pull for quite often in my collection. I really, really quite love them. I think they're really great blushes. They smell good too. They have this like, kind of like, I don't know, fruity, powdery scent to them, which is really odd in my humble opinion, but really good. They're beautiful blushes. But I have a ton of beautiful blushes. So I'm not 100% sure what my mindset was when I was picking those, but I do like those blushes, and those are this year the ones that I would choose for blush. From a bronzer contour perspective, that one was an easy peasy win for me. Since this bronzer has come into my collection, I have wanted nothing more but to put this bronzer on my face every single day, and that is the Pat McGrath Labs Divine Bronzer in the shade Nude Honey. Now, I was on the website the other day trying to link this in another video that I did, and I couldn't find the Nude Honey anywhere but at Ulta, but I love this bronzer so dang much. It is my favorite. It is the perfect shade of bronze for me. I love that even though it's called Nude Honey and I thought it was going to lean very warm, it leans very cool tone on my skin, and I do prefer a cooler tone bronzer on my skin. I just think it goes with my skin tone a little bit better than like a warmer one, which typically turns me orange in my humble opinion. I really love this bronzer. It was an easy choice for me. And then for the highlight category, I do have the Natasha Denona Demi Glow, which is the skincare infused Demi Beautifier actually. And this is what it looks like. It's got this like beautiful like luxe looking packaging to it. It's really super thin. And then this is what this guy is. I feel like this is just really pretty first and foremost. It just goes onto the skin. I like it a lot because it feels and reminds me of the Rare Beauty Silky Touch, the Positive Light Silky Touch highlighters, without being as in your face as those are. So it's definitely more subtle than those are, which is kind of what I'm going for these days. But feels like those highlighters do. And honestly, I think on the skin looks very much like those highlighters do as well. If those were not as like in your face, oh my God, she's wearing a highlighter. You can see her from NARS, which a lot of people like. It's just not what I like. I would probably have picked the Rare Beauty ones because I feel like those are just too in your face for me. I do love them, but I like this one more because of its subtlety. That said, there was a point in time in my life where I loved that in your face, see me from the moon kind of highlight. And, you know, we always work back around to the things that we used to love before. And I do think that there is a time and place for that kind of highlighter. So I do love those as well. But from an everyday perspective, something, if I could only choose one, it's going to be this one. Because I do think that you can build this one up too. And it can be See Me From the Moon. But you can definitely shear it out, and it just sits better on my skin because of how emollient it is. It's not quite powder, but it's also not quite cream. Much like the Super Shocks in a way. From an eyes and lashes perspective, this is the biggest category that I have to share with you guys today. We'll start with mascara. For mascara, it was either this or Bad Gal Bang. I think, like, if I was thinking mascara in terms of, like, length, it would be Bad Gal Bang. Color, it would be Bad Gal Bang. But overall, I really, and that one is like, I think super tied for like Holy Grail mascara. It is what I am wearing today on my lashes. But I think I just love this one so dang much. I feel like it is waterproof without being advertised as waterproof. It takes an act of Congress to get it off your lashes, which I think Bad Gal Bang has over this. Like, it just comes off your lashes super easy. But with that said, Bad Gal Bang bothers my eyes just a smidge bit more than this one does. This one could be on my eyes for days. Don't ask me how I know this. And doesn't bother my eyes. This one goes nowhere. It also creates a massive amount of volume that I just don't have in my lashes that I would love to have in my lashes. The Bag Bang does not produce for me. So I love this one for the volumizing effect. My perfect combo is Bag Bang with this over the top of it. But I would probably choose that one hands down for my lashes for the volumizing effect of it. For lash primer, I did pick the Lancome Cils Booster XL. This is something that I have had in my collection since I got it in a sample and then decided that I couldn't live without it. Like, I love a good mascara primer or lash primer, and this is a fantastic lash primer. It's pretty expensive, but I have found that it lasts quite a bit of time. I think this one's been in my collection for, I don't know, probably longer than I'd like to admit. Because like mascara, you should probably get rid of this at 3 months in, but I'm not gonna because I'm just not gonna. There's that. But I love this lash primer. It is the best lash primer hands down. It really helps to hold a curl. Really helps to give me some of that length that I'm not going to get from the FanFast mascara. So I really do like those two in tandem with each other. For liquid liner, I did put down Hindash, but I don't have Hindash in my collection right now because it's just not, I've not went to Beautylish or anywhere to make a purchase recently. And you can't get it anywhere but Hindash's website or Beautylish. So there's that. So my second best would be the KVD tattoo liner. I do have a couple of these in my collection, including the one that I am currently using. I just feel like this liner doesn't go anywhere. It is a really great waterproof liner. It doesn't move around. It doesn't like dissipate from my eye when I have my watery eye issues. If I'm like rubbing my eye, it doesn't go anywhere. So I really do love this eyeliner. I feel the same way about Hindash. I do like the Hindash one just a smidge bit better than this one, and I think it's got to do with the brush. This one's brush is really nice, but it does tend to splay out a lot quicker than I feel like the Hindash one does. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with the lid that is on it. I wish the lid was just a little bit different so that you weren't constantly like catching the brush tip on the lid. From a pencil liner perspective, I did pull some Urban Decay pencil liners that I have. I think in years past, I've done the LA Girl pencil liners. And one thing that I can say that I've learned over the last like year-ish, maybe a little bit longer, is that those just really aren't, I had them in my project pan quite a bit this year because the ones that I have in my collection are getting quite old. But what I have realized about them is that don't quite last as long as some of my other pencil liners are lasting. And while I love some of the other pencil liner formulations that I have, I love this one just as much. And this one comes in 500,000 different shades. Not really. I mean, that's an over exaggeration, of course. I just have 3 shades here, but I have this in multiple different shades. I think I have like 5 different Urban Decay shade liners, and the ones that I have out here are Demolition, which is a brown. I have High Vibes, which is kind of like a metallic, like olive green. And then I have LSD, which is a metallic, like navy. I love these liners for not only longevity on my waterline, but also in my tight line. They work really, really well. They're no budge. They just stay in place. You do have a little bit of time to work them in and smudge them out if you want to, but they're just liners that last for a very long time. And they're not ones that I put into my waterline and wonder where the hell they went like 4 hours later. So really, really love those from a pencil liner perspective. From a potted liner perspective, I did pick Again, a KVD product. These are, when I purchased them, they were called the Super Brow. I don't think that they're called that anymore, but I do have 6 different shades of it, and I just really love these for, look, pigmentation, but also like ease of use. They're really super creamy. They don't take a whole lot for you to get them into an eye look. They go over the top of all the different like textures and whatnot of the eye looks that I'm putting together. And the pigmentation is beautiful. I have white, and then I have 5 different colors outside of white, and this really works good as a mixer with any of those other colors and any other potted liners that I have to create my custom color of liner that I want. And these are foolproof for the most part, and they are waterproof. So I love them so dang much. I mean, a little bit goes a long way. I think you guys can see I've used this white one like so much, but like it literally doesn't look like I've used it hardly at all. And it will go bad before I use it entirely. I would say if you're using this in your brows on a daily, then you'll probably go through it a lot quicker. But these are really good. They don't bother my eyes, and they're waterproof, so they don't go anywhere once they are on my lid space. And I love the fact that they glide right over any texture that I have on my eye, which is different from many other eyeliners, especially potted liners. For eye primer, I did pick the ABH eye primer, and this one is in my project pan. So it has lines on it, and it had like a claw clip like holding it like shut. I love this eye primer. It is the eye primer that I have on right now. It is an eye primer that goes really well with anything I put over the top of it. It actually has a little bit of a tint of like pinky whiteness to it, so it can blend perfectly into your skin, but it also has this like really beautiful white base for you to put like super colorful eye looks over the top of. I love this eye primer. It is not super emollient, so your colors are not going to stick to it because it's not wet. It dries down. It doesn't need to be set. It's a really beautiful eye primer. I don't like setting my eye primers, so I love that eye primer. From an eyeshadow stick perspective, I do have the Bobbi Brown eyeshadow sticks. I love these. I have some minis in my collection. I have some full sizes in my collection. I just have 3 different colors here, but these come in so many different colors. They work well as like an eye primer. They work well as an eyeshadow. I love that you have shimmer versions and you have matte versions, so you can create a whole look out of these. These work well as a lower lash line eyeliner. I love that they don't sting my eyes. They're just beautiful. Also in the inner corner, really beautiful shadow sticks. I don't 100% love that they're not like pointed, you know, they're kind of domed at the top, but I do know that like once you use them, they're not going to be 100% pointed anyways. I do kind of like that they are retractable and not like a sharpenable crayon of sorts. So I don't know. They're really good. I just got some Laura Mercier ones into my collection. I haven't tried the caviar sticks yet before, but these ones currently are my favorite. I have tried many an eyeshadow stick, and like the next ones are super emollient and really cause creasing in an eyeshadow look. When used as a primer, these ones don't cause creasing, not even the ones that have more of a shimmer base to them, and they're really great travel, one and done kind of eyeshadow. You don't have to worry about your powders breaking or anything like that while you're traveling. They're really great for travel. And my favorite of the ones that I have, because the other ones either, you know, are so emollient that they cause creasing or they just don't blend as easily. From a liquid shadow perspective, I do really love the About Face Fluid Eye Paints. I have 3 different matte shades here. I think I have overall 8 matte shades in my collection and 2 of the glimmer ones. I don't really love the shimmer ones as much as I love the matte ones, but these are so good for eye primers. You can put anything over the top of them. Really good for eyeshadows. They do really well blending out. And no creasing, no budging. once they're on, they're on. And what I love most about them is like this one is white. So it goes on my eye and it really truly creates a white base for crazy, awesome, like editorial or Instagrammable looks to go over the top of. Also, are just really beautiful in and of themselves as a like one and done eyeshadow. Can be built up so that they look like they're kind of a gradient of different colors in your eyes. I find them to be perfection, honestly, from a liquid eyeshadow perspective. And then for glitter, I did pull the MAC, and I've had these, I think, as favorites before in the past. And I don't know that you can buy these anymore, but these are the Spellbinder shadow glitter shadows. I love the packaging first and foremost, and the glitters are just, they're like in space glitters that are just kind of so pretty. Not super like piecey or chunky, but just a really beautiful hanging out there glitter without like a huge base underneath them. So like I would wear this over the top of like a one of these and it creates just this really beautiful effect because there's not a lot of base to them. I do have that one, which is kind of a blue green, and then I also have this one, which is red. Again, I think this is like probably the second or third time I've mentioned these as a favorite eye glitter for me, but it's because they're just fantastic. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see, but this is like the one that I just swatched on my hand, what the coloring is of it. And like, if you put it over the top of your eye, it just creates a whole nother look. It's just so pretty. And it doesn't take much. You don't need a glitter glue to have these on your eyes. You just put them on top of anything, and it just creates an entirely different viewpoint of your eye makeup. So I forgot, I went over and pulled it because it is on my list, but I forgot to talk about it. From a face perspective, the face palette that I chose was the NARS Tryst Hot Tryst palette. And I think because this has 4 different blushes and 2 different highlights, this would be my favorite. And these are more of a has to build up kind of thought process on them. Like this is just a finger swatch, so of course it's going to look like crazy potent, but that's not really how these perform on the face. I have used this one so much. I think that you guys can see that the imprint is nearly gone on that one, this one, and this one. Those 3 are my favorites, but it's just such a beautiful, beautiful face palette. And I have a ton of beautiful face palettes. I think I have a hard time getting rid of my face palettes because of how beautiful they all are. I would love to be able to pick a face palette that has bronzer, blush, and highlight in it, but I don't have very many of those. And I don't have any that I love more than this one. So this would be the face palette that I chose. And with that said, those are the items from every single category in my collection that if I could only choose one, those are the items I would choose. I know I cheated. I know there were a couple of categories that I had more than one, but they were different. So we're gonna call it like a wash. We're not gonna give me grief or judgment down in the comment section because I made the rules cater to myself and my collection and what I wanted to have. But if that was fun for you, let me know down in the comment section what you loved most about it. I would also like to know if you could only choose one product from your collection in each of your collection's categories, what would it be for you? I do love talking to you guys down in that comment section, so please don't forget to hit a girl up. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that if you did, you're considering subscribing to the channel. I would love to welcome you in, so don't forget to let me know in the comment section that you did so. But also, I think that you'll find that it's pretty freaking fantastic around here, and that you'll want to hang out. So that said, please don't forget to hit the notification bell so you're notified every single time I upload a video. I do typically upload 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but some weeks are hard. Let's just be honest. I've done a really good job of keeping up lately, but some weeks are hard. So there's that. I hope that you and yours are well. I hope that you are all safe and healthy and getting along as best that you can. I hope that you are all loving each other, being kind humans, and living your best life. And until next time, bye, friends.